If someone were to ask me, Rick, who's the most important jazz musician of all time? I would say, oh, definitely Miles Davis. They might say, well, what about Louis Armstrong or Duke Ellington or Charlie Parker? I'd say, well, they're important too. But no one was at the forefront of so many different movements of jazz as Miles Davis. In the 1950s, he had a quintet that made some of the most important records of that decade. And the same thing in the 1960s. It was a different quintet. The 1950s quintet was Miles on the trumpet, John Coltrane on the sax, Red Garland on the piano, Paul Chambers on the bass, and Philly Joe Jones on the drums. And in the 60s, it was Miles with Wayne Shorter on the sax, Herbie Hancock on the piano, Ron Carter on the bass, and Tony Williams on the drums. The song we're going to talk about in today's episode is on this record, Relaxin'. This record, Relaxin' with the Miles Davis Quintet, was recorded between two different days, May 11th, 1956 and October 26th, 1956. Well, on those 2 days, Miles actually recorded 4 different records. Workin', Relaxin', Steamin', and Cookin'. 4 albums in 2 days. And they are 4 of the most important jazz records of all time. He recorded these 4 records because he wanted to get out of his contract with Prestige Records because he eventually went on to sign with Columbia Records. Now the tune, Oleo, was written in 1954 by Sonny Rollins, but it's based on the 1930 composition, I Got Rhythm by George Gershwin. Now, why is I Got Rhythm and Oleo important? Well, the chord progression is called rhythm changes. That's the shorthand name for it because jazz musicians improvised and wrote tunes based on the I Got Rhythm chord progression that they simply call rhythm changes. And why is this chord progression important? Well, it's important because it's actually a very difficult chord progression to improvise over. It's based on a 32-bar form, an AABA form. And the reason it's difficult is because the chord changes move so quickly. Let me give you a little background into rhythm changes. Let me play through the chord progression for you so you can hear how it moves. 2, 3, 4. Bridge. Okay, that is rhythm changes at a normal tempo that a jazz player would play. Now, Oleo's played slightly slower than this, but not much. As you can see, that chord progression, which is really based on a 1-6-2-5 or a 3-6-2-5 progression in the key of B flat in this case. 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, and then 2, 5, going to the 4 chord, passing diminished, 6, 2, 5. Sometimes you go 1, diminished passing, 2, diminished passing. Now the bridge is the cycle, okay, so it's D7, G7, 2 bars each, C7, F7. And then the last A section, again, 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 2, 5 to the 4 chord. And then it starts over again. Now there's many variations of rhythm changes. In Oleo, when you get to the 4 chord and the first half of the A section there, it goes to E flat minor and then to D minor 7, G7, C, F. That's just another variation. So there's many different variations of rhythm changes. I did that turnaround. That's just something I thought would sound cool at the time. So when the soloists are soloing, as you will see, many times they're implying these different substitutions. Let's check out the beginning of the song. So if you go to Spotify or iTunes, what you'll hear when you hear the beginning of Oleo is you'll actually hear them talking. You'll hear Miles speaking. Now, on the original recording, that is taken off. So that's one of the cool things about having these new versions of the song that actually have the talking. You'll hear Miles say, keep the tempo up. He's telling them, because it actually starts, they play the melody, and then when it goes into the first solo, Miles' solo, Paul Chambers is playing the bass by himself with Miles and up until the B section. Let's check it out. Listen. Listen. This is awesome.
1001.
Number one.
Just like we did with
Yeah, watch the tempo, bro.
Watch the tempo, will you? I think he says Paul.
Hey, bro.
Okay, bro. This is the melody. Paul Chambers on the bass, walking. Then the whole band enters in the bridge. Red Garland. John Coltrane. This is the first chorus. Miles starts out with first solo. Just Paul Chambers walking along. The two A sections. Bridge. G7. F7. Then. Okay, so Red Garland plays this. He plays the dominant, which is the note F. We're in the key of B flat, but he plays that really in everyone's solo on the last A section. So the solo form is AABA. They're soloing over the chord progression that I talked about earlier. B flat major 7, G7, C minor 7, F7, D minor 7, G7, and so on and so forth, okay? So that signals the last time around the A section before the solo starts again. So you start again. The form is AABA, 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 okay? So here we go. Bridge. G7, C7, F7. Last A. Okay, so this is how they connect solos. So this, you think of this as speaking, really. So Miles finishes his solo with this idea, and he drifts into that next A section, which would be the beginning of Coltrane's solo. So Coltrane steps up to the mic and just completes that idea, finishes kind of where Miles just started that last sentence, okay? So here's a little transition, right? Okay, one more time. Listen to it. This is how you listen to the jazz. It's a conversation. Then. Second A. Bridge. G7, C7, F7. Last A. Then. Then we're in Philly Joe. Bridge. This is my favorite part. I love that. Then. Oh, so good. Bridge. Here we go. Then. Okay, this is amazing. Coltrane here. This is so good. He's just killing this. Last A. Then. So not only is his melody incredible, but his feel in this, meaning his time feel, where he places the notes, how he's swinging these lines is amazing. A little bit behind, right? Oh yeah. Last A. Back to just the bass. And then Red Garland in. Oh. That is amazing right there in the bridge. Listen to this. This feel is incredible. Listen. Right here. Incredible. Now. Okay, since he's always been doing the every time Philly Joe Jones plays it on the hi-hat, he plays that figure, right? That's just kind of a thing. And I think that they just made it up on the spot. That's not anything that is common to do. Red Garland just played that during Miles's solo, and so every time they decided to do that, and now Philly Joe is listening, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to play that this time, right? So it's always part of the conversation. Last A. Oh. Oh, this is the phrasing again here is incredible on the bridge. Listen. All those accents, all those upbeat accents that are happening in the line, he's accenting the high notes of each phrase. Right here. Miles. I love this. So melodic. Bridge. Now they both do it, Philly Joe and Red. Still soloing. So in there, so in the pocket, Paul Chambers. Amazing. Never slows down. Back to the melody. Okay, this is really cool. What Paul Chambers is doing in the bass is something that jazz players ever since this recording do on rhythm changes, especially if you're playing Oleo. The bass player will always play that bass line because it shows the other players that they know this recording. This is how jazz works. It's at least when I was growing up, this is, you pay homage to these classic recordings of the songs. Now there's many versions of Oleo. Miles has another version of Oleo, at least one other version of Oleo, and there's many versions of Oleo on other records. Many versions of rhythm changes, tunes with the rhythm changes chord progression. But this particular time through the melody, when Paul Chambers walks down kind of in the rhythm of the melody, this is a classic thing. Let me play it for you again. Listen to the bass. Right here. It's amazing. Dun, dun. Bass solo, right? Oh! Now that ends, that's the first time I ever heard that chord. That is A major over B flat, which is an incredibly hip, I call it a tonic diminished chord. But that's another thing, that if you play that tune and the piano player or the guitar player plays that chord at the end, you know that they know this recording. Okay, so this is really how you listen to jazz. This is like I said, when I was growing up, these were the important things about jazz, is to have the reverence for these classic recordings and understand what makes these songs and performances great. This Miles Davis record is one that you should definitely know, relaxing, but you should also know working, steaming, and cooking too. You know, I know everybody knows Kind of Blue and they know So What and things like that. Those are common things, but these records are really the classic hard bop records of the Miles Davis 1950s quintet. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're a first-time viewer, ring the bell. That'll let you know when I go live and when a new video comes out. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. That's very important. If you're interested in the Beato book, go to my website at www.rickbeato.com. Follow me on Instagram at rickbeato1. Check out the new Beato ear training program at beatoeartraining.com. And if you want to support the channel even more, think about becoming a member of the Beato Club. Thanks for watching.